Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Tuesday the 30th of October. Still holding on to a generally chilly theme for the next few days. Quite a messy weather situation just at the moment, becoming somewhat more organised heading toward the weekend as southwesterly winds strengthen, at the risk though of widespread gales and some heavy rain as we head on into the weekend. Let's start with a look at temperatures, and this is the 850 millibar level, as we often show you. At the moment it's quite close to the height of the highest Scottish tops. The number on the white background is a height in what we call decameters. Add a 0 to it, you've got it in metres, so you can see 1320 is not too far off the height of Ben Nevis. And we're down at sort of -2s and -3s at the moment. Not really too much changing. Slight warmer air comes in across England and Wales through the next day or so, but the Scottish Highlands more or less staying sub-zero above 700-800 metres thereabouts as we go through the end of the week. Let's just move on toward the weekend then, because briefly a push of much milder air comes in by late Friday night into Saturday as a warm front comes in. Temperatures lifting markedly, well above freezing even on the highest tops, but quite short-lived because temperatures look like coming back down again as we go through the weekend. And I suspect then the cycles of freeze and thaw that take us on into next week, where the higher tops occasionally dip below freezing, but we do see some periods where we go back above. Perhaps just a hint of relatively cooler air, always just trying to hang on across Scotland, whilst England and Wales, the higher tops generally staying above freezing. Let's have a look at the charts then, and here's Wednesday, and it's a real tangled mess. We've got a slack pressure pattern in place, the leftovers of fronts that have been kicking around for a while, none of them doing particularly much, but in some places enough to be a nuisance and give some persistent rain or snow. Across the higher tops in Scotland it's chiefly all as snow, and across the West Highlands during Wednesday this is probably filling in during the day to become quite persistent. The front that's draped just across the north of England and the west of Wales producing some rain around coastal hills, but inland toward the Pennines and East Wales seeing little if anything. A mess of low cloud, though, is left around associated with these fronts. Now, for Thursday, the front that's draped across Wales and the Pennines, producing some patchy rain, again some sleet and snow on the highest tops here. That will tend to fade as the day goes on, and we get a relatively more showery air mass that comes in from the west. Across Scotland, showers of some snow and some hail, mostly on western mountains, a few coming inland, but across the central parts of the Highlands and across the eastern side eventually, as that front clears, it should be a largely dry day. And once any early dampness has gone from England and Wales, those hills of the lakes and Snowdonia should come through drier as well. Winds are fairly light, so not a great deal to move things along, so we could stick with some low cloud for much of the day. Now, pressure builds briefly into Friday. We push away those complicated remains of fronts off into Scandinavia, and it's a decent day for the most part. Just need to watch the timing of those fronts over the Atlantic coming in. A rapid deterioration to gales and rain, preceded by snow, coming in late on, but it may well be after dark before that properly gets in. Just watch the timing, though. 1 or 2 showers around some coastal hills in the morning. Otherwise, a good amount of sunshine and cloud breaks to many higher tops. Not quite absolutely sure of the detail into the weekend at this stage. Some complex interactions going on over the Atlantic. We've got a former hurricane over the mid-Atlantic getting into the mix as well, so always uncertain just how things shake out. It looks a windy day, though, extensively for Saturday, whatever the shape of the lows or the fronts. Risk of widespread gales or severe gales on the mountains, and rain sweeping through, maybe persistent across western hills for a good part of the day. And again, without trying to get too clever with detail, the idea of quite a deep area of low pressure somewhere north of Scotland seems believable. We may be in a slightly cooler air mass, so back to showers, some of that may be falling as snow on the higher ground in Scotland, but complications just on the trailing fronts that go back towards the southwest of Britain could spin up another area of low pressure, and that could come moving in to give more organised rain and gales. So just watch again the details at this stage. Expect an unsettled day. Some places might get away with it for a while, but it looks windy at the very least. And if we look at the general theme into next week, it's one of being rather unsettled. The trough of low pressure, the dip in the colours that lies just around Britain and dipping away towards Biscay, is essentially where that complication of low pressure is around Sunday. But the next lows over the Atlantic want to come swinging in, and that risk of further rain and gales into next week could well be the order of things. A pretty unsettled outlook overall. You run it on over a few days, and whilst this chart does average it out somewhat, it does highlight that low pressure stays very much close to the western side of Britain, trying to pull in a generally south by southwesterly airflow, so relatively milder air maybe in England and Wales, but always just the chance of dragging in some cooler air more off the North Atlantic into Scotland. Doesn't look quite as wintry as what we've just seen though at the end of October. We're not quite getting that northerly back anytime soon, but it's the more unsettled, turbulent face of autumn that seems to be the one to take us into early November. We'll update the video for you on Friday. Thanks for watching today. Bye for now.